film review from MB. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and of course our Twitch stream. I don't know if that's the case. We're not live, so I don't know what I'm saying that for. But John, we are here. I'm Stephen. John's here. And we're going to play this out like it is live. Because guys,
going to play it out like it's a
before I
short
pass
film.
this over to John, I just want to say one thing. This will be premiering, which means one of the two of us, or both of us, might be in the live chat. So please drop your comments into the live chat for our film review of Kill.
Please out like
made
a short
back
film.
in 2023.
That's why I keep saying that.
I don't know why. I mean, geez, 2023, we're nearly at the end of 2024, so this film's not long out. But
yeah.
Ho-ha, as
Hoo-ha.
Al Pacino
He
once
did,
said. We're here
yes.
to obviously review it.
This is such a crack of shit.
Well, this film
was
isn't.
Al Pacino.
Clear. But John,
That was said of a woman.
I just want to say one thing before I pass it over to you to guide us through this
That's
review
gonna be fun.
experience.
Oh, wow.
If you've been tuning into our watch along, guys, then you kind of get a sense of where we're going, obviously, with this review.
Yeah.
Hope you all enjoyed the watch along as well as much as we did, and I hope you all enjoyed the film as much as we did as well. But I'm going to pass it over to John now, who's going to take us through this review experience for the next, don't know how long it'll be.
Yes. Well, time will tell.
Yeah.
Hopefully my nose can hold up. And my voice can hold up. Because I'm sounding like someone who's dying here. And it's very deep and very... I digress. We get introduced to this film, Stephen, by Anna-Mia. She put it in the WhatsApp and recommended it as a reaction also. She joined us on the reaction. She didn't have as much fun as I did. Neither did you, funnily enough. I just revel in gratuitous violence, visceral violence. I get off in it. I love it. Something I've enjoyed for a long, long time. I don't get off in it in a strange way. I really enjoy watching films with violence. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just do.
Well, in particular, this one I can understand.
Yeah,
why you
this
do,
is
John.
very fucking violent. And you've seen that in the trailer.
Yeah.
So right off
But
the
there's
bat...
a reason. That's the
there is, and we'll get into that, yeah. Trailer wetted the whistle in terms of anticipation. Hadn't heard of the film. Hadn't heard of Nikhil Nagash. Hadn't heard of Lakshya. Hadn't heard of any of the cast. Completely brand new information for me. I don't know about you, Stephen.
No.
So I was intrigued on a discovery level because it's something we've been doing over the last 4 or 5 years now with India. Just discovering new regions, discovering new actors, and then going down a rabbit hole with them. So just from that standpoint, it intrigued me. The concept on a train, lots of slick action, violence, revenge. I've enjoyed that genre for a long, long time. John Wick, Nobody, Death Wish, Atomic Blonde to an extent had violence. It wasn't really revenge. It was kind of Cold War, secret spy stuff. And I think it was East Berlin or something like that. I can't remember. Something like that anyway. Point is, I've really enjoyed these kind of films for a long, long time. So I was looking forward to it. Obviously, we've not done a watch-along in a long time, Stephen, for various reasons. I mean, it's been about 2 months or something, 3 months. I think it was... Batara. Oh, God, I always butcher this. The one with... it's not Shah Rukh. Salman Khan?
Yeah.
Salman Khan, yeah.
Yeah.
Goes over, the little girl gets lost in India. She's blind and whatnot. She's not blind, she's deaf. That'd be fucking weird if she was blind.
Shows you how long ago it was.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has.
Still getting comments.
Yeah, we had a strike in the channel for
Still
quite a
getting
while.
comments. Why are you not crying? Because I
Yeah.
don't cry. If it's not got a dog in it, I don't cry. So that was where I was, Stephen, getting into the film. I'm pretty sure you were the same. We start watching the film, and lo and behold, Stephen, it gives you everything that you got from the trailer. Really enjoyable, slick, taut experience. They're saying an hour and 45 minutes long running time. I dispute that. It's an hour and 39 minutes long without the intro and without the post credits.
Like an hour. It flew
It was
in.
very, very quick.
Very frenetic, John. Just
I'm
get
going to
back
set
to
stuff up while
just
you're
get back to
speaking.
the promotion of it, though, John. In terms of the trailer and the trailer reaction that we did,
Yeah.
it showed you so much in the trailer in terms of the violence and a lot of high quality production in terms of camera angles and coordination, etc. But one thing it didn't show you was obviously the reasons behind the actions in this film to an extent, which I thought was a good thing, because it just looked like an out-and-out violent film, which we were going to get, and we did get that, but there was so much more to this film than just violence. a lot more than that. There's some great acting in this film, some great drama as well, and some great chemistry from the characters. And one of the things I think we said after we'd stopped filming was obviously the Finney character. I did say, do you know something? He was a really good villain in this. He really got under my skin.
Yeah.
He really got under my skin, and a good actor as well.
And he was one of many villains, Stephen. He was the primary sort of antagonist just because he was odious and just calculating and cold. He didn't give a shit. He was clearly psychotic.
You compared him to...
He was like Muna.
Muna, yeah.
Kind of more brainless
Mirzapur,
kind of Muna. Muna, I mean, he was probably the brainless one in Mirzapur, but he was more cerebral and thoughtful about what he was doing and what Fanny was in this, or Fanny, however you see his name. I'm going to call him Fanny, because Fanny by name, Fanny by nature, really. But
and Benny.
yeah, and Benny. There's going to be an issue here in terms of remembering all of the various characters. I think Baldale's Singh Thakur, that was Amrit's fellow captain, an army friend. Ooh, army friend. I'm pretty sure that was him.
Yeah.
He was a great side protagonist, side character who came in and gave you some powerful moments where he was holding up so someone couldn't escape, or maybe just self-sacrificing as he does near the end of the film. He has some good moments in this.
He's like JP and the Family Man. That's how I don't know, it was just that sort of loyal friend, side by side, and had a purpose. Because I've seen many films where the sidekick's just a sidekick. He's just there for fodder, basically. He serves as a bulletproof jacket for the main guy. He wasn't. He was certainly, he had a role to play in this, and it was sad. Obviously what happened to the character was very sad as well. So,
but we called it though, Stephen, didn't we? And that's one thing I think we'll get into with this film. And to be fair, it's probably the same across all of the various films that I've got opened up here. I opened them up for a reason, just to check the running time. Yeah. And they're all consistent. John Wick Chapter 1 is an hour and 35, 40 minutes. Death Wish, an hour and 30 odd minutes. Atomic Bond's a little longer. It's again not really a revenge film. Nobody's an hour and 40 minutes. Perfect running time, Stephen, for this film. You don't overstay your welcome. It's a slick, well choreographed, violent film with a semblance of a story, of a rationale for your protagonist going on this violent journey. You don't overstay your welcome.
No.
You get in and you get out, and you give the audience what they want, which is some emotional bangs, punches, and lots of violence, and you're happy at the end of the film, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did do that with Kill, and then we'll get into sort of pitfalls and how successful they did with the story, and maybe some of the other characters, and just, there's some cons in here. There is some issues, but in the main it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And say that right now without giving the entire sort of opinion that I have on the film away.
I think it's fair to say, and I think it's important to say, John, that this is going to be a spoiler-rific review. So if you've not seen the film, please maybe save this video for later, because we are going to get into some major spoilers, which is the film's called Kill. That's your sort of first clue.
And he kills. He does a lot of killing.
Yeah.
Killing in the name of. Stephen, the start, introduced to Laksha, coming off the train, hot off the sort of battlefield, if you'd like, with the army. He's a captain. His friend, I said Laksha, Amrit, and obviously Baldale, they can go off, and then he meets his lover.
Sweetheart.
His sweetheart. She's getting married to another man. Yeah, she's been married off by her father, who's quite a prominent businessman, I want to say. Try to find his name.
Yeah, he's a celebrity.
Where is his name, in actual fact?
It's Talika's father, isn't it? So,
Talika's father, yeah. But he had a name in it.
It's not Talika's daddy, clearly. It's, I'm not really sure, actually.
Yeah, he definitely had a name. I can't remember the name of the character.
It's not a big cast, so I don't know why he's not prominent in that list. But
he was a prominent businessman anyway. Obviously married off. You get a sense right away. This guy's coming from a bad situation. He's trying to win the affections of this girl before she gets married off. Maybe try and turn around the family. If it requires running away, or if it requires doing something on that train to make it happen, he's going to do it. That's where we are at the start in terms of maybe planting in the audience the importance of Talika. But Steve, we had an issue at the start, didn't we? Before we even got on the train, we're introduced to Fanny not long after.
Yeah.
Fanny, wearing a really dapper polo shirt. He changes on the bike into a shirt. We were slightly confused. I did my best to cut it out of the episode, or out of the reaction.
Yeah.
First part.
It doesn't help that Laksha and Raghav Jyal.
Yeah.
Look very similar.
Yeah, they've got beards,
so
they've got similar haircuts.
Similar haircuts, yeah, and build.
Kind of bald, height.
And if you're only
Didn't
seeing
get
these
you
guys for the
confused.
first time, you're not really.
And it was dark.
Yeah, you're not really homing in. So we kind of thought it was the same person for about 2 minutes, and we kind of figured that out very quickly. But that's down to editing, John. I felt the edit, with a bit of the cutting, introducing Finney into this was a bit. He's just there. He's just there. That's it.
And that's a concurrent sort of theme. Or concurrent theme. I'm going to go with that. Throughout, consistent theme is the best word to use. Not concurrent. Makes no fucking sense. That's a consistent theme throughout. I'm on medication. I'm tripping. You need to bear with me on this one. It's going to be a long one. If I remain relatively sane throughout this, then I've done well.
Right, before we
Big
go on,
up.
John, we did a live show on Monday.
Yeah.
And I know obviously you've got to switch the sound over.
Yeah.
We have done that, yeah.
We have done it, yes, 100%.
Before we go any further, yeah.
It wouldn't make any difference in terms of a recording anyway. It's more for streaming. You have to one track it. Whereas the off sort of not live stuff, you can just, it doesn't fucking matter. You can split it up. It just means you're splitting the audio tracks. You can do what you want, yeah. But just let them go. It was a consistent issue for me. The villains, I mean, there's a rationale for Amrit, and I suppose that's the most important thing. He sees a guy doing all the fucking killing.
Yeah.
But the villains, they're very two-dimensional. Very two-dimensional. They want to go on. They want to hold up this train and rob the train. And they want to go off.
Yeah.
And they strike gold with her father. But I feel like they rush. They don't give us a huge amount of backstory to any of the characters. You're very much wham bam thank you ma'am on the train. I said to you doing the reaction, is this the train? Because it was within 5 minutes we're on the train. And they do say, to be fair, in the trivia on Amazon Prime, 95% or something of this film is spent on the train. I'm like, but literally the whole thing is on the train. And the trouble with that's not a huge issue, but the issue is that you're not getting a lot of time to stew with these characters, to get a sort of rationale, to just give depth to them and connect them to the audience who's watching. You're right into the action, and the villains are right in. Fanny, whatever you want to call them, all of his gang immediately start harassing and stealing, and then right away there's killings, and then there's consequences for those killings and harassment. And that comes in the form of Amrit and briefly Baldale standing up almost on their own in the entire train. That was a slight issue for me in terms of not giving us enough time with Talika, with Amrit, with the villains. You're right into it. And again, it's an hour and 40 minutes. You can't bog it down, understand, but it's a slight issue nonetheless for me.
I think that's one of the things that they have to decide on, whether it's the writer, the director, whoever it is. They have to decide on what the genre is first and foremost. If they've decided on it's just action, kill, then fair enough. But there has to be a rationale behind it, John. There has to be stakes and stuff like that. Now, I'm just looking at the Hannah character here, the young girl, who went the opposite direction on the train. And she was the kind of thing that kept Amrit going after obviously Talika's demise. They could have went the other way and went, you know something, forget the Hannah character. We'll just put Talika in that position. She's up the other end of the train, and that's his goal. He's got to get to her. And that would have been played out in a so predictable way. And we've seen many films like that, John, over the years that have done it that way. But what they did was they went, no, we're going to take risks here. We're going to take chances, and we're going to kill Talika off.
And it was fucking brutal.
And that when that happened, I think that's when that mission came up, wasn't it? It said kill. And then we just knew, I think we were rubbing our hands at this point. Here we go. It's going to be hell for leather now. And that's exactly what it was. So I think they knew what they wanted to do very early on, but at the sacrifice of obviously developing these relationships early on.
In their defence, Stephen, the writers, and I'm going to find their names just now, writers are, funny enough, the director, Nikhil Nagesh Bhatt and Ayesha Saeed. They do their best to posthumously bond you to Talika.
They don't want to kill the pace.
They don't want to kill the pace. So it's a hard balance. Once you've decided you're going for this frenetic, high stakes, unbelievably slick choreographed action in a tight space like a train, it's hard to break off from that. You're not going to have a break in real life. These guys would be incessantly trying to kill them.
But in terms of tone and the sort of pacing of the film, it didn't change.
Well, funny, we'll get into the briefers actually, Stephen, because I actually thought that was quite realistic, because when you've got one guy and
taking on about 50
and Baldale at the start, two guys, you quite simply can't keep up the pace against 40 plus 50 people. You just can't. You need to have a breather. And the way that they introduced that into the story and gave us a little breather and allowed us to maybe get into the mindset of Amrit, get into what is happening with the villains as well. They have their little clandestine fucking meetings in the other carriage. That was quite clever, the way they introduced that. It kind of slowed it down a little bit and it gave you a realistic breather for Amrit. I mean, he was getting the shit kicked out of him, Steve. He was getting concussed
I didn't
and
mind that, John. I
battered up.
prefer that in a film of this sort of ilk because obviously you're going to tire, and especially if you're getting beaten, you're going to tire even more. But there was just moments in that where, and you've got to bear in mind as well that, you know, the villains in the film had a plan to get off the train at a certain point as well. So it felt rushed because it had to be, you know, for them. They had to get off the train at a certain point, and then it came to the point where they couldn't get off the train because they knew the minute we get off this train, we're dead.
He's going to hunt them down.
So they had to deal with the situation. So there was a lot of things thrown in there just to sort of, they had to stop and think and plan what we're doing next and try to get everyone on board as well, because near the end of the film, a lot of the villains' sort of henchmen were starting to go,
yeah, we've had enough.
This guy's going to kill us all.
Well, Steve, there's lots of clever things done in this. I don't know if it's just before the intermission or it's after. I want to get back to that Talika point because you're absolutely spot on about her being the one that cops it. She's the one that dies, and you've got jeopardy, and then you've got obviously the ramifications on an emotional level for Amrit. That's bang on, Stephen. It was brave of them to do that. It's slightly different. You could have just stuck her at the other end, and it's like he has to go and fetch her. He has to go through all these waves of people. It's like a fucking video game.
Mario.
It's like exactly. It's Bowser steals Peach and runs away. But to do the opposite and put the sister there and then kill her off, it gives him that rationale. We'll get into that though. I'll get back into that because that's quite an important point for this film. I think that outside of all the slick action, and that's really important in a film like this because that's what your meeting sort of drink is, whatever the fuck I don't know what the fucking saying is. I'm terrible with sayings. That's sort of bread and butter for this film. It's slick action, very well captured. Guys who are capable of producing the action, and Lakshmi, and obviously Raghav to an extent, but certainly Pratap Verma, Veera, I think that was the big guy in the tracksuit.
Oh, he was massive.
With the moustache. He was very impressive, that guy. Yeah. But Stephen, just briefly getting back to what he says there about the villains, the sort of henchmen wanting off, I thought they did a brilliant job in this of trying to humanise the bad guys. Maybe not Fanny, and obviously his father, because they were spearheading that. Even the father was like, what is wrong with you? Can you not just fucking grow up? Why did you kill her? But he's just headstrong, doesn't give a shit, a little sociopathic bitch. So maybe not him to an extent, but the other guys, they done a brilliant job at one point where half the fucking gang were wiped out. And it's all family members and close connections and relatives or whatever.
That old fat guy that cut the power, or cut the... He kind of just faded away, didn't he? Because we were like, oh, he's going to do something, he's going to... He kind of didn't really do anything.
He was just kind of plotting and then he bit the bullet, didn't he? Or did he? I can't remember.
Kind of fizzled out. It was weird.
But they show you all of them, dead, and they're grieving for them in the actual carriage. They're all crying. There's about half a dozen to a dozen guys all crying their hearts out, broken, because they've lost someone who's dated them in this gang. And I thought that was clever as well, because again, it shows you that they're humans, they've been caught up in this, they're not particularly nice gentlemen, but they wanted to go on and rob and then get the fuck off. And Stephen, I called it, it's like Nakatomi Tower.
I can imagine though, exactly, and I can imagine those people you're talking about are probably thinking, right, it's one job, we're going on, it's probably going to be mostly elderly people, we'll just take money off them, it'll be easy, and we'll get out of there, and we'll be away, head for the hills. And obviously it didn't turn out that way.
Well, because of Fanny, being a Fanny, and killing Talika, and then it all went to shit.
It just spiraled.
That was Pandora's box getting opened up. But I thought that was really clever, because it just showed you, look, this is humans have been caught up in a really awkward, fucking terrible situation, and this guy is just being for blood now, and he doesn't give a shit.
John, there was a line though, we'll stick on Talika just now because we're at that point anyway where there was a line. Is that the line I'm thinking about? Yeah. And right away you called it. But I think both of us were thinking.
Well, there was a couple, I
mean, she said something about
why do I have to die to be with you or something? Can't we live?
I'm like, wow, that's kind of on the nose.
There was another line. Oh, you're right. It was like
something
just tomorrow I'm going to be your wife, and we're going to be
I'm
happily
like-
ever after. I'm like, there's a 40 odd guys in this train.
Yeah, you're
I'm
done.
going to have something to say about that because your man has rubbed them up the wrong way. So either he's biting the bullet or you're biting the bullet.
Yeah.
And obviously in the end, both. And we'll get into that at the ending because it's kind of open-ended. Did he die? Didn't he die? It's the fucking sort of spinning thing in Inception all over again. There's a little bit more.
That's a Nolan thing to do. He did
Yeah.
it in The Dark Knight Rises as well at the very end.
Yeah, exactly. Is he alive? Is he not alive?
Yeah.
Did that cafe exist or is it all in Alfred's fucking head? Well,
Yeah.
in my mind he did survive because Batman doesn't die. Not to a clown like that. Why
It's
do you
funny-
merely shoot a man
It's
before
funny you should
tossing
say
him
that
from a
because
cliff?
I felt Amrit was a bit of a superhero in this as well.
Yeah, he
He was
was.
very Daredevil.
Yeah, and Stephen, that's fine because it's the concept that, let's get real here. It doesn't matter if you're the most dangerous martial artist, you're Bruce Lee, or you're a highfalutin officer in the army and you're really capable and violent and you're a big 6'9" giant. You ain't getting through 40 guys, man. You're just not doing it. So that's fine. They already set up. Look, this is fantastical. Just let the disbelief blow off into the fucking
Yeah,
the
suspend
atmosphere.
it, yeah.
Suspend it. Get the popcorn out and enjoy it. We didn't have popcorn, but we did have beer and we did enjoy it. But yeah, Talika, also the death of Talika, Stephen, if I'm saying that right, Talika, quite an important moment, quite a violent moment. And I said at the
It was
time, I love
unnecessary.
violence,
She was
Stephen. I
dead
do.
after that first.
Yeah, she
blow.
was gone. I mean, they stabbed her in the
Yeah.
gut. It's fucking over. Unless you can get to a hospital very, very quickly, you're either dying there, bleeding out, or you're dying like a couple of days later with obviously sepsis. You're goosed. You're not surviving it.
Yeah.
But I mean, as much as I like violence, that was just gratuitous violence on steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, he stabs her again in the back, and then he stabs her in the neck.
Yeah.
And they don't hold back. The blood goes down, and then just to top it off, he pushes her off a train.
Yeah.
So very unnecessary, I would have thought. But again, it just shows you, it lays down the stakes for obviously Amrit and shows you how despicable Fanny is as a man. Just saying that, I can't take him serious, that name. That's probably a very common name in India, but over here it means something different. And when you say it, I don't know, it's just fucking weird. But at least it kind of sets up what's to come perfectly.
Yeah.
It just felt unnecessary, the violence. So, but then you look at this film, Steve, the whole fucking film's full of unnecessary violence.
Well,
I mean,
they
he
didn't
bashes a
hide
guy's
anything in
brain
the-
in with a fucking fire extinguisher at one point.
It was like bottom. They didn't really. It's like slamming the door in the
Yeah,
head.
he
It
does,
was
doesn't
like
it?
constantly. Obviously, the blow to the eyeball as well.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
There was a lot of that in
Lightning.
abundance, you know. But one of the things I'll commend them on with the trailer is they didn't hold back on the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think that was a one of, what do you call that, red band trailers. It was just a trailer. It was just
No.
that was the trailer
Yeah.
and that was it. And it was like, this is what you're going to see if you come and see this film. So they didn't really hide anything. They didn't disguise it, and they didn't mislead you anyway in that trailer. So what you saw in the trailer is what you got in this film, but obviously magnified in the film. There's a lot more.
And that's fine.
But I didn't mind it, John. I didn't mind the violence because I knew I was going into this scene.
It was
in the
more
trailer.
Tulika though.
Yeah.
It just
That
felt
That
unnecessary.
was shocking, yeah.
But I think he felt jilted that she wasn't interested in him.
Yeah.
And then he's seen the opportunity that she meant something to this guy who was
It's
wiping
mooning
out his
all over,
guy.
yeah.
And he just, yeah, exactly, with Babylon, obviously,
wedding, yeah.
Sweetie. Just fucking violent for the sake of being violent. He gets a kick out of it. He's a twisted little bastard, the character.
Yeah.
But there's something about him as well. He's got charisma. So he almost, but we'll get into him as a villain. And Stephen, I think that's probably a perfect point with Talika's death to get into the actual emotional side of the film, because as I said earlier, you can have this slick action and choreography and violence, but ultimately you look at all those films up there I've got listed, nobody, it's about this guy finding bravery he didn't realise he had. I think his family get buggled, he wants to lash out. It's been a while since I've seen the film. John Wick, it's a dog in the first film that his wife bought him. She passes away,
Yeah.
and these hoodlums, these gangsters, kill his dog, and it brings him out of retirement, and he's vengeful because the dog represented his wife in the last sort of, I don't know, connection to his dead wife.
Yeah.
There's a rationale for him going back in and doing it. Death Wish, also his family get burgled. I think his wife potentially gets killed or something, and he goes out and wants to wipe these guys out, and he goes from a sort of liberal doctor into this gun-toting, violent person. But there's always a rationale behind it.
Yeah.
There's an emotional undercurrent in the film. They try to do this, Stephen, in this film. How do you think they did in terms of Tulika's death, giving a rationale to Amrit's violence and killing 40 plus people, and just try to combine the slick clinical action we've got with sort of an emotional core.
It's important
because they try right at the end.
John, it's important that the director and the writers have both the feeling of the main characters and the audience's feelings are in parallel with each other. They're running alongside each other, and they manage to do that because obviously it's upsetting to see, and what happens after that is the anger comes out, and I felt anger. I don't know about you, John, but I get kind of caught up in these type of films when that happens, especially the way she was killed, and you just the blood boils for this character Fanny, you know, and you're like, I just can't wait till he gets to him, and you know, and we have this final face off, and it kind of took its time to get there. There was obviously obstacles in the way. I think it was Virat, as you said, John, was it the big chap?
I think it was Virat, I think that was his name.
Obviously the dad as well. There was that uncle. There was the
fella with the floral fucking hoodie.
Shirt. And you know, there was all these different things.
Maybe
but
Benny, that one.
I think they managed it well. I think in terms of connecting with the audience and how they would feel in that situation.
I think it was Benny.
I think he was
a hoodie guy. No, it wasn't. That was the father.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Steve.
Benny?
Benny, I think that was the father, yeah.
Yeah, he did quite. I thought he did like a double barrel name, but there you are.
Might have been that might have been the dad. That might have been Talika's dad. Even now, I'm not sure. It's been nearly a week since we watched this film, and they did say
Singh.
Yeah.
I think they might have got the photographs wrong. No. Baldeo Singh, no.
Baldeo was definitely
that's Talika Singh. Baldeo Singh, that was Baldeo was the dad.
Was Baldeo not his little fucking friend?
I think they've got the photos wrong. Because look at the names, Singh and Singh. You know?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that little guy was his friend though.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that was definitely his friend, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a little captain guy.
Have they maybe got the characters' names wrong on IMDb? I think that's what it is.
Maybe I'm talking shite. That may be the father. Because that looks like an old photograph, 2015. I don't think so. I remember him saying Baldeo Singh, because I'm pretty sure that was the other captain. They get injured. And obviously,
it's just because obviously Talika and Baldeo have got the same surname. But
sorry, Steve,
it's quite a popular name.
Yeah, I totally fucking talking.
I think it's IMDb. It's got it wrong. No, I'm just saying. You know, I think they got it right. I think in terms of the tone and obviously the way it played out. I think we were feeling what Amrit felt. You know, at that moment, and we felt, what would I do in that situation if I was a superhuman film star in this film?
Yeah.
Because if I was just an ordinary person, I wouldn't have lasted 2 seconds. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm an ordinary person. What am I saying? If I was an ordinary person. You know what I mean, though? It's just, I think they handled it well. I think they did it in the most believable way they could in extreme circumstances, you know? Because this whole film is extreme.
Of course
it's heightened.
My only issue when she died, and obviously what was to come, was that I just felt like we hadn't spent enough time with the character and with the two characters in particular, establishing their connection, their relationship. We'd seen flashbacks of them talking and whatnot, but I think that was after she'd died. And a lot of the work, the heavy lifting for the two and why it's driving them to wipe out this gang and get to Fanny at the end is established after she's dead, and obviously right up until the final shot when he's clearly dying on that fucking bench or whatever it is at the train station. She comes in and speaks to him and they hold hands and whatnot. I think they play up that right to the end. And to be fair, Stephen, it wasn't perfectly handled, the sort of emotional side to it, but I think they did enough to establish what this character meant to Amrit and why he was so enraged and had desire to wipe the whole train out. I think they did enough, because again, if you had him wiping out all these guys,
there was another line that came from Fanny that I thought was pretty interesting as well at the end, when he said, "You're not an army guy, you're not a commando, you're an animal." I can't remember what the words was. It was just but basically you're just an animal.
He's basically saying, I took one person that was precious to you, you took 40 of mine.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't matter, mate. You started the whole thing. If you hadn't killed his fucking wife-to-be, his soulmate, then he wouldn't have killed any of you guys. If you hadn't come on the train and started shit with your sort of floral hooded dickhead cousin or whatever he was, and his uncle, I think it was actually Virat's uncle actually that died because he no, it wasn't. Fuck, I've lost the plot. There's that many. If you hadn't come on the train, started the shit, you'd all be alive. Everyone is. It's all down to you, Fanny, mate. Virat's dad dies for sure. He definitely dies. I can't remember which one it is, but his dad dies because he's really cut up about it. And I'm like, who gives a fuck? Big mustachio bellend. It's down to you again. Being violent, and your father was a bellend anyway. Yeah, I'm loving that word bellend tonight. It's really necessary.
Do you know what's weird about this IMDb? I mean, they mention Jass's father, Jass.
Yeah.
Jass's uncle, Jass's aunt, Jass' uncle, Jass. I'm trying to remember. He was the groom. He was the groom.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of just fizzled out as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't even. Was he on the train?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, was he? Yeah, I think he was. I can't remember.
Can't remember.
But it was such a blink miss moment.
Oh, I can't think, but Jazz, he was irrelevant the moment Amrit get into that toilet and proposed to her. Opened the window up and says there's a sort of buffet of smells in here, can you get to it? And say yes.
Yeah, that's the
the
thing
moment
about
that happened,
toilets, they don't flush.
God, I know. And can you imagine? Just proposing to someone there. I'm like, how romantic. Fucking next best thing down from the Arc de Triomphe for the Eiffel Tower, proposing to someone in a toilet, a public train. Yes, nothing says like forever, live with me forever.
Distance train,
yeah. I don't remember Jazz. He was irrelevant, really, to the story. It's all about Amrit and Talika. And then when
him and his family are making up the bulk of the cast.
That's
weird. There's so many.
There's all the fucking gang members.
Yeah.
They were more important. There was some really memorable gang members in there. Stephen, look, speaking about violence, and all of that, man. There's some absolutely outstanding kills in this film. There really is. Fanny right at the start with the police officer. He's talking about how, I'm a student at a university. I'll help tutor your son. I'll show him the ropes and where to go and whatnot. And then he just sticks a knife right in the back of his head. Yeah. So the way he turns around, I'm like, this is going to be sensational, this film. There's some brilliant ones. The fire extinguisher, Amrit just mushes the guy's head into the floor. And it's the way that Virat walks through later on and looks down at the stain. He's like, yeah, I'll step over that. That's just, not stepping with the guy. That's his brain matter, no chance. Try to think of other ones off the top of my head. There was quite a few. There was some really blink you'll miss it ones. Fanny again.
I think
at the start slashes the guy's throat.
The one with the dad was the best.
His
head on fire.
Yeah, that was sensational. Yeah, he kind of kicked something into his mouth, didn't he, and set it on fire.
The lighter,
There was a knife as well.
The lighter fluid.
Yeah, lighter fluid, yeah. I think he threw a knife into someone's mouth at one point as well. There's just some absolutely outstanding kills in this game. In this game, and it's like a game in this film. I'm trying to think of other ones off the top of my head. Also, probably the most disappointing one was actually Fanny and Amrit. At the end, he's just punching him. I'm like,
you find that in these films. They didn't Kill Bill as well. It was such a non-event. You know, I think it's going to be sensational. But I think by that point, you probably there's a bit of exhaustion from the audience and seeing all this violence. There's obviously this, what would you say, fatigue? Yeah, I would say is probably the thing. So it's got to be a little bit more cerebral between the two of them, because the two of them, as much as I don't like the character, he's conniving and smart but in a conniving way. So, and same with Amrit, obviously he's quite clinical. Been in the army, he's obviously headstrong, he's tactical. So it's not going to play out the same way as you would if you're taking on a thug, where it's just.
Obviously, he can't compete with Amrit if he's fresh.
Yeah.
So I thought it was quite clever the way that they had it play out. Him taking on, killing 30, 40 people. He's exhausted at the end. He's took multiple hits to the head. He's been stabbed.
Yeah. And
just the way Fanny was sort of attacking him, he was kind of waiting until they were grappling, then doing a little sneaky stab into his sort of abdomen.
Yep.
He did it about 3 times.
John, they did that in The Dark Knight. Joker and Batman. And they had to get the dogs to attack Batman to bring him down to sort of knee level so the Joker could kick him. Because it's an uneven match physically. But you're right.
But I think to have the villain kind of playing like that, it just feels devious. It feels conniving. It's sneaky.
Yeah.
He's a sleek character, and that just worked beautifully. The two different styles. The fact that he had to wait until he was exhausted, and even then he had to do little sneaky sort of abdomen hits. It's just I liked the way that they structured it. I liked the way that it played. Stephen, one of the best kills in the whole fucking film is when a guy jumps off a train. You don't even see it. He just splatters onto his friend's face, and it's there you go. He's turned into red mist.
The sound, John. I know
Sound
we'll
design.
get into production. I know we will, but
we can do that just now.
I would
Stephen,
get into it because
we'll get back to Fanny and sort of his villain sort of turn in terms of when we talk about the performance of Ragav, because I thought it was really arguably the best performance in the film. I would say, but the sound, the production quality in this film is unfucking believable. Yeah. It's right up there with Death Wish, Nobody, John Wick, all the great revenge films I've seen before.
Yeah.
Slick as hell, beautiful choreography, just the way they worked out the scenes. Because you can't underestimate how difficult it is to set a film, even Bullet Train. It wasn't really revenge, it was kind of like Guy Ritchie style, multiple villains and different stories all interweaving. But kind of similar concept.
What was the one with Chris Evans on the train?
Yeah, that was Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer was the same. Train to Busan.
Train to Busan.
I mean,
when you've got that
anyone
tight,
that's on a train, it's action.
You've got that tight sort of carriage. It's really hard to walk out a believable.
Yeah.
I've been watching. I watched Star Wars Theory with the guy who did all the choreography work on the prequels of Star Wars. Nick something, I forget his name, English guy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But he's fucking brilliant in the way that he speaks about
Nick
scenes.
Gillard,
Gillard. Just the way that he structures fight sequences, how he wants it to be organic.
Yeah.
You give him a concept and he'll work out how to make it look believable. 10 guys against one, you need to cut a hole through.
I think any film filmed on a train's a hard thing to do, even if it's just drama.
Exactly.
It's a contained space where film crews want to have as much space as possible to get all the best angles and the best shots. You're not always going to have that in a film.
No.
But they seem to have managed to do it in this film in terms of, especially the sort of close range choreography, the hand to hand combat stuff.
The way they could use the environment.
Yeah.
I love it when they start improvising and using things, battering their heads off of beds and doing different things. It's just
as you said,
perfect example of how it's done in this film, and just the darkness as well in different scenes. They would switch the lights out and there'd be real confusion. There'd be curtains flapping and he'd come out of side compartments and jump on them.
We watched an
really
Indian film. It may have been a Talap FVJ one from 30 years ago, where the sound design was, it sounded like Indiana Jones' whip for a punch. Yeah. It sounded exactly the same sound for a kick. It sounded the same for a headbutt. Everything was the same. In this,
really low budget though.
You felt the blows. You felt the punches because of the sound design in this.
And sound design.
You mentioned the guy get thrown off the train. You didn't see him splatter. It was the sound, and obviously the visual of the blood splattering back. But you just knew he was done because of that sound, the squelch.
You just can't underestimate good sound design, Stephen, and the brilliance that goes into it. There's people in studios with a whole array of objects you would never in a million years associate with the sounds you're seeing. Yeah. But they're fucking genius the way that they just know how to enhance the sound. Because if you just shot a film with the on-set sound, it'd be terrible, man. It'd be lifeless. They add depth and they add levels to it, and it just immerses you in it. It's all the little subtle production tricks, from the score to the visual stuff to the sound design, everything that just enhances and makes a film as enjoyable as it is. And the sound design in this is fucking outstanding.
Yeah, definitely.
Really, really good. We pointed to it right away at the start, the punches and whatnot. You could feel it. And imagine that in a theatre. It'd be vibrating in your chest, man. You'd feel those punches. So absolutely outstanding on a technical level. I don't even know who the choreographer was, if it was multiple choreographers. I'm going to do my best to try and find that out just now, because I like to give them their due. Outstanding. Where the fuck is it? How far down do I have to actually go here?
There we go.
Cinematography, choreographer, I mean, it'll be a whole department, won't it, really? I mean, I'd imagine sound design, there you go, sound department, there's about 30 people.
About 30 people.
Visual effects, stunts, there's like 4 guys, no surprise, it looks like it's like Korean people or something, because they're always outstanding at doing this sort of stuff. We've seen that with the K-dramas and films we've watched from Korea. Train to Busan, unbelievable. Just really, I mean, you can see Steve. Look,
I'd be interested to see if any of those guys actually worked on Train to Busan.
It would be fascinating, wouldn't it? I'll bring them up just now and find out. Probably weren't, but I mean, I'm going to look them up anyway. Let's get back. No, I don't think so. It's mostly like Western stuff, to be fair.
Yeah. They're obviously
second unit stunts, Tiger, Snowpiercer. There you go. He has, he's worked. He's kind of worked in with Bong Joon-ho's Parasite.
Yeah, I mean,
so he's worked.
Big films, John. Yeah, as you mentioned, Tiger. Yep.
It'd be amazing if one was on Train to Busan, but they aren't, sadly. But one worked with Bin Jong-ho, so that's good.
Yeah.
But the cinematography was unbelievable. And Rafi Mahmood, take a bow, my friend, because the way you shot this film was
what else
unbelievable.
has this chap done, John?
Rafi Mahmood, let's find out in a moment. We'll bring him up.
I'm very interested to see.
He's not really seen any of them, but I tell you what, man, I would want to see them now because based on what he did there, that one's a bit weird.
3.9 out of 10. Not
No,
very good.
no wonder. But no, he done an outstanding job, Stephen. Everything you say is they like space, they like obviously as much opportunity to capture action from different angles as possible. And you're not really bestowed that in a train. It's quite tight. I thought he done a brilliant job of capturing the action, making it believable, and just enhancing what the great stunts and whatnot.
Yeah.
Team
John,
did.
I mean, a lot of the things they did
Music
in this
as well
film
was
was
brilliant.
a lot of close-up shots to the face.
Yeah.
Right up to the very end when we see our main man, Amrit, on that bench dying.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's dying. He died.
No, he definitely died. He
but
definitely died.
how close was the camera to his face when he was? His eyes went. That's when I knew. I think that's when he passed away because his eyes just kind of rolled into the back of his head.
No, they did a great job, man.
Again, that's down to cinematography. That's down to choosing that shot to make sure that the audience sees everything in this guy's face before obviously he passes, and they did it very well.
Captured all the kills really well too. I think of, and I'm doubting if it was Baldev Singh, his friend when he dies. That's quite a violent
I
death.
think Baldev Singh was that. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
I'm just looking at that moustache.
I just remember he had a double triple barrel name. The dad.
It's annoying that I can't remember the little.
And just when you said that Benny, I'm like, I don't think it was Benny.
Was it Benny? Was that? I can't. That's definitely not his friend though. That's definitely not the other captain.
Just now.
But yeah, I mean, Stephen, I'll go into the performances now. Then, in terms of the villainous turn, I genuinely, Lakshya was brilliant. He was very, very good as Amrit. You need a protagonist that's got screen presence, Ud's charisma, and is just a big physical guy who can pull off in a believable manner all these deaths and fighting and whatnot. And the Amrit character in Lakshya did a brilliant job with it. But for me, I'm drawn to a good villainous performance. I think like the 90s, and I'm drawn to Gary Oldman performances and the likes of The Fifth Element and whatnot. Is fucking blanking his name, which is terrible. Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg. Characters like that, I'm always drawn to a villain. You think of Heath Ledger, Joker in The Dark Knight. Is that's not him, is it?
That's the dad, isn't it?
Yeah. What character is that?
He's playing Baldev Singh.
Fucking
to
screwed
so
that.
They've done it wrong.
Yeah, they've gave
they
a
gave it
fucking
wrong.
mental look at. I mean, what will the friend then just completely ignore Baldev Singh? I fought for like half the film that was a friend. I don't know why. But
Because of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm drawn
Under
to.
a bus.
I'm drawn to Raghav.
Yeah.
Gial was the Fanny character. I just think his performance was. Saying that name, his performance was absolutely brilliant. He played this conniving, odious little shit. He was very reminiscent of Muna. But he also had a believability. He had a dark side to him. He was a little sneaky shit. He was kind of physically weaker than Amrit. He would never have lasted 2 minutes at the start of the film with him if they were going to the death. But the way that he just stayed out of danger's way, and he was just sort of ducking and diving, nicking in and getting the odd kill, taunting from the back, the front of the train. Like, to be fair, he went on the fucking roof and went and rescued his friend, didn't he?
Yeah.
And came back as well after getting off the train. I just thought it was a really good performance from Raghav. He played the villain really, really well. And right at the end, he was taunting and saying, look, it was one body to 40. What you doing? What's wrong with you? You're an animal. You're a monster. Despite everything that he'd caused and done and everything being his fault, I just thought Raghav was the man. For me, he was the best performance in this film. And the Fanny character was just a really good villainous turn. Really, really enjoyable. Maybe not the most three-dimensional villain. Maybe not get the most rationale you could find in a film for being what he was, and they didn't really delve into the villain too deeply, but just a great turn, man. Really enjoyable watch. It takes two to tango, Stephen, in a film like this. You need someone who's despicable, who's taunting, who's doing something horrendous to, I don't know, chastise and give the protagonist a reason to go and fight back. And he was the perfect sort of, I was going to say spoil, but that's not right. Foil, is that the word?
That's the one.
Perfect foil
Yeah.
for the Amrit character, and I think his performance
Yeah, it was
better.
everything that obviously they were opposites, and that's the sort of perfect face-off in these type of films. I think for what Fanny lacked in sort of physical stature, and certainly up against a commando like Amrit, He definitely had in a sort of cerebral way to an extent, but obviously,
Fucking Varesh is the he's the actual friend, by the way.
oh right,
Yeah,
Varesh,
yeah,
yeah,
Varesh.
yeah, yeah.
Don't know why I get
I was
Baldev
trying to look
Singh
that up,
to
but
go
I actually looked up Baldev Singh on Wikipedia as well, and it was still saying it was Harsh Chaya
Yeah.
that's playing him, and I'm like, I don't know if that's right at all.
I was just looking at the photo and seeing the moustache.
I
It's
think
like
that-
Freddie Mercury
It could
moustache.
be an early photo of him. I'm not really sure.
No, I think
I'm
it
not
is,
really
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But I hate when they do that. Get a recent photo. Guy's still working. Jeez, oh, stop being lazy. But yeah, I think both in terms of the two main characters in this film, I think it was a perfect match. What one lacked in something, the other obviously had in abundance, and vice versa. So it definitely did work. It was not in any terms, in terms of these heightened scenarios that are just very unrealistic in real life. But I think both the characters were believable enough to take on each other for different reasons, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm just looking at photographs
that's
of
him.
Abhishek
That's him, yeah.
Chauhan, who played
Yeah.
his friend. That's
Yeah.
Varesh Chatwal. So everything we said prior, well, I said, because it was me,
Yeah.
I was committing myself,
Johnny, we
about
could-
Baldev
I would
Singh
maybe put a
Thakur.
graphic up saying IMDb
Yeah.
have threw us
Yeah.
under the bus.
Yeah, they've used a very old photograph of Harsh Chaya, making him look like Abhishek Chauhan as he is right now.
Same
with that
moustache.
moustache. And we're like, that's him, fuck it.
Yeah, I'll do.
But Varesh Chatwal was really good as well, Stephen. Everything we said prior, he was the perfect sort of wingman
Yeah.
at the start, taking some of the heat off of Amrit. And it just as a character, he had a connection with Amrit. It was on a par with Talika, but it was in a professional manner.
Yeah.
And when he died, you could tell it packed a punch for
Yeah.
Amrit. And it was a really sad death. He tried his best right
Again,
to the end.
funny,
He'd
he's
been
taunting him about the
Yeah.
death as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said the same thing to Amrit as he said to Varesh before he killed him.
Yeah.
But he fought bitterly to the end. He was badly injured. I think the gun backfired on his hand. He was getting stabbed and all sorts. And he just kept fighting and trying to save his friend and help him to the best of his ability. So he was a really good character as well. But for me, it was the Raghav Jiyal was the guy. He was the performance for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else would agree with that out there, but you can put that in the comments when the time comes if you get to this point. Stephen, round it up.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got much more to add.
No, he's
Just
type of
end, yeah,
films-
maybe the ending. Maybe
Yeah,
the ending.
the
Did
ending,
you
John.
think you kind of said he did die in your mind, and I would
Yeah.
agree. I think he died. They kind of left it open ended.
John, there
he
wasn't
died.
many on the nose moments in this film. Obviously, the one with the death of
Talika, yeah.
Talika. I think that was kind of obvious just with some of the lines that she was saying, and it didn't really put me off. It didn't really ruin the film or anything like that, because we knew something had to give, something had to really spur this character on to do what we saw him do in the trailer. That was the reason for it. But in terms of for me, I think just the performance of Finney, the actor, I can't remember
Raghav
his name.
Jiyal, yeah.
Just I think he got under my skin to that point, and I think we knew he was going to die, but in terms of Amrit, I wasn't really sure. I thought, I think he has to die, after everything that's happened.
Yeah.
That's where it came from me, not just obviously the physical side of things with the eyes rolling at the very end, but I just think he's killed 40 people as much as these people are lowlifes.
Lost his sort of.
He's got nothing else to live for either. He's lost his love of his life. He's lost his best friend
in reality,
and
he's got nothing.
I don't think he could carry on another day after what happened on that train. So for me, I know they didn't obviously put it up in big writing, on the screen. He died, by the way. It was obvious. Obviously, I think when they were sitting on the bench and Talika's putting her hand out to him, and it's as if this is them in the afterlife meeting each other or something. I don't know what it's one of the things you can interpret whatever way you want, I suppose.
I think he definitely died.
I think they did it. I think they did a really good job of it.
And it makes sense, Stephen, because it's realistic. He's went through 40 men. You have to take bows, and ultimately you would end up dying.
Yeah.
I mean, you would. That's the realistic thing. You can't get out. We've seen so many films, and certainly from the Indian subcontinent, where one of the main characters will take a stab wound to the gut,
Yeah.
or to like a major organ, and then he'll be back up and running about in 20 minutes, and you're like, fucking no chance. Not a chance.
I hate when they do that.
They do it in the West as well. How many times have you seen Tom Cruise getting the shit kicked out of him in a film and he's back up fighting at the end? It's like, fucking no chance. That's not realistic. So I commend the filmmaker and the film in general for putting him through the emotional ringer, the physical ringer, and then at the end he actually dies of his wounds. That's a realistic portrayal of what would happen if you fucking managed to get through 40 people in a train and get to the train station at the end. It's realistic, so fair play. Stephen, final thoughts?
Never been on a train in Kennishead, Priest Hill.
Fucking be like that.
Happens every Saturday night.
Oh God, any train. I can imagine that train coming into where we are just now. I've certainly seen the train station at ungodly hours, and fuck me, I wouldn't want to be on a train going in there. I wouldn't want to be on a train anyway. I can hate trains. Those weirdos that watch trains, man, they're for the watching. I'm telling you that right now. Them watching trains are for the watching. Just driving by a bridge and they're fucking stopped
spotters.
They're stopped at a bridge watching for trains coming. It's like, get fucking life. What's wrong with you? Weirdos. Weirdos. I digress. Standing in the middle of nowhere over a bridge watching for a train coming. Fucking hell. You've got one life. Oh my God. But I digress. Final thoughts on the film, Stephen. I really enjoyed it. This is my
thoughts and ratings.
Yeah. Final thoughts and ratings. My kind of film, man. I love revenge films. I love violence. I'm a bit psycho. Clearly, I've got something. I've got something internally that I've got a predisposition for liking violence. Only in films though, and games. I have to stress, not in real life. I'd be appalled by that in real life. I think. I don't know.
Spewing down the side of the tracks.
I don't know. I've seen it on Twitter and whatnot.
Seen someone's head getting bashed in.
I've seen a lot on Twitter, and I'm not really that bothered either way. I just go about my business. I actually tend to think I'd be like Dirty Harry Callahan or Columbo. I'd just sit and eat like a bacon sarnie while washing, something like that. I just don't really care. But yeah, I love these kind of films. It's my kind of experience. I knew I'd enjoy it from the trailer, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, Stephen. It was short and sweet, an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Just beautiful violence throughout, really slick. On a production level, very, very impressive. The acting, where it was required, was very, very decent. Good villainous turn. A hateable, but also strangely likeable kind of villain. Ticked all the boxes for me. I really enjoyed it. In terms of ratings, I'm going to have a little gander at what the consensus is before I maybe shoot.
7.6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going to... Yeah, I'd agree with that. For the genre... I mean, you have to go and look at the likes of Death Wish. Yeah. Death Wish is rated at what? 6.3. I think it's better than that Death Wish.
It doesn't
movie.
mean them average films, John. They're sort of if they're any higher, they're punching above their weight in terms of genre. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think. I think I'd go with maybe like a 7.3.
7.4 is pretty reasonable, John.
Yeah, I think it's a very solid film, an enjoyable film.
I mean, you do have to obviously suspend belief in these films. You know that there's no one physically can do that. And I know I'm going to get comments. There was somebody that did this. It was based on a real story. I know it's going to happen.
Bruce Lee took on 5 guys and he was angry. He was out of breath.
Yeah.
He was angry, apparently.
Sweat, yeah. John, you have to suspend
That's Bruce Lee.
belief in terms of obviously the events of this film and just take it for what it is. It's an action film full of violence. And some might say justified violence. I don't think violence is ever justified. But when you're weighing it up in a film like this and suspending belief, then the execution in this film is very well done. I felt it was believable for this type of film in terms of the amount of hits this guy got, the hero got, in terms of being out of condition, sort of second part of the film, just because of everything he went through. Obviously, just with stamina, etc. So it was believable. It wasn't like he was just like a machine going through the motions. He was taking the blows. And he took them in his stride, I suppose, to an extent. But I felt it did have emotion in it. I would have probably done things a little bit different in terms of obviously the relationship, but I get what they were trying to do, and I get why they did it for pacing issues. They couldn't bog it down too much, so you got those little sort of brief moments of the memories as they saw her bloodied hand print on the glass door. I thought that was very well put together. But just before that, you did say, I'm not sure if, I can believe this. I'm not really buying into this relationship because I've not seen them enough. And I agree, John, but I think under the circumstances, they did their best with that. It could have been done probably a little bit better, a bit more
just now,
development.
Stephen.
Thinking back, you're having that flashback now, all those memories of watching the film. And,
my nose is itching. That's what's happening. My nose is itching.
This is getting clipped.
I'm getting emotional.
I'm going to actually. This is going to be clickbait. But for me, I thought in terms of pacing, it was frenetic, John, from start to finish. It absolutely flew, and it felt like an hour. This
You put
film.
that at the end of Buzz by Anne.
And
Satisfy people. I'm more manly than you, sorry. You fucking know me.
manly man.
You don't fucking know me, mate. You know how manly I am. You don't know how big I am
I
or
wouldn't even
nothing.
get into a discussion. That's not
You know
my
how
kind
tall
of.
I am or nothing, mate.
That's
What
not a
are you talking
discussion
about?
for me. The whole manly thing. I'm more manly than you. You don't even sound manly saying that. So, yeah, for me, it was a great film. I thought the actors, haven't seen any of these actors in any other films or web series. So get into that fresh and coming away going, that was fantastic. That acting was really good. Chemistry between, obviously, the love interest was fantastic. The chemistry between the hero and the villain was fantastic as well. And all the different layers, all the different characters as well, all played their part. I don't think there was many main characters that was wasted in this film. Even the henchmen had a purpose. They had names.
Yeah.
They actually gave them a bit of a background. The big guy with the beard, obviously his dad.
His dad, yeah.
They gave him a reason to go crazy. But I thought it was good.
Let's go fucking mental. Let's go fucking mental. Yeah.
And they did. For me, I think I really enjoyed the film, John. I came away from it thinking that was well worth the watch. I would have loved to have saw this in the cinema. For me, it's probably a 7.4 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 7.3. 7.4, yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly do something for that guy. He says, I'm more manly than you. Well, you know what? You need to wear shorts like that, mate, to be manly. See that right there? See that colour? That's what you need to wear, mate, to be manly. You need to wear bright pink shorts. That's a real man that does that. That's a real man that does that, mate. If you can wear pink and still get someone to take you serious, you're a fucking man. There you go. There's your fucking dinner. What's your What's your thoughts on Gil? There's your dinner, mate. What's your thoughts on Gil? What's your thoughts on the performances? Thoughts on the film as a whole, as a visual experience, the production values, the cinematography, the kills, the story? Well, you can share your thoughts on our reaction to it as well if you've seen it. Put your thoughts in if you want to share. Don't know what that accent was. Down below in the comments section. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyes for future content like this. And all that's left to be said is until the next time, thank you for watching us. Bye-bye.
Kalki.